Good day everyone, and especially to our instructor, Sir Leo Arcayos. I am Ginilo Tohot and Miko Asinto, and this report we aim to explore the essential criteria on damage stability in seamanship. As future seafarers, understanding how a vessel behaves in damaged conditions is vital for ensuring safety at sea. Damage stability refers to a ship's ability to remain afloat and upright after experiencing structural damage such as hull, breaches, or flooding. So this topic is not only critical for the design and constructions of ships, but also for the training and preparedness of the crew. By studying the international regulations, design standards, and performance requirements related to damage stability, we can better appreciate the importance of proper ship subdivision, watertight integrity, and emergency response. Through this report, we hope to build a solid understanding of the standards set by organizations like the IMO and SOLAS and how they contribute to preventing loss of life and protecting the marine environment during maritime accidents. So the damage stability is a critical aspect of naval architectures and seamanship, ensuring a ship's ability to remain afloat and upright after sustaining damage such as from collision, grounding, or explosion. The criteria governing damage stability are designed to safeguard human life, the environment, and the vessels itself. These standards are largely based on international conventions such as International Maritime Organizations or the IMO regulations and the SOLAS, which is the Safety of Life at Sea Convention. So here are the main criteria on damage stability in seamanship. So the number one is compliance with SOLAS regulations, the Safety of Life at Sea or SOLAS conventions, particularly Chapter 2.1 specify mandatory requirements for damage stability. Ships must be able to withstand specified flooding conditions. So the compliance with SOLAS regulations regarding damage stability. So the Safety of Life at Sea or SOLAS convention is the main international treaty that ensures ships are built at and operated safely. In Chapter 2.1 of SOLAS focuses on the constructions and stability of ships, especially after sustaining damage. It requires ships to divide it into watertight compartments to limit flooding in case of an accident. This helps the ships stay afloat and stable even if part of the hull is damaged. So ships must be able to survive specific flooding conditions defined in the regulations. These conditions are based on possible accidents such as collision or groundings. SOLAS uses both probabilistics and deterministics methods to evaluate a ship's ability to survive damage. So the goal is to ensure the ships maintain positive stability and does not capsize. Compliance with these rules is mandatory for most commercial vessels. It helps protect the lives of passengers and crew by improving a ship's safety and survivability at sea. So number 2 is watertight integrity and compartmentalization. The ship must be designed with adequate watertight bulkheads and compartments. The extent of permissible flooding must be contained by these bulkheads. Opening in watertight bulkheads must be minimized and fitted with closures that can withstand flooding pressures. Watertight integrity and compartmentalizations are essential for maintaining a ship's safety after sustaining damage. So the ships are divided into multiple watertight compartments using bulkheads, which are vertical walls inside the hull. These compartments help limit the spread of water if the hull is breached during an accident. The purpose is to ensure that flooding is contained within specific sections of the ship. This design prevents the entire ships from flooding and increases the chance of survival. The number and placement of watertight bulkheads depend on the ship's size and type. Any openings in this bulkhead, such as doors, must be kept to a minimum. These openings must have watertight closures that can withstand pressure from incoming water. So maintaining watertight integrity is also important during normal operations, not just emergencies. Proper compartmentalizations greatly improves a ship's damage stability and helps it stay afloat longer during flooding. So number 3 is assumptions. Design calculations assume certain damage extent which vary depending on the ship's type. Length of the damage based on ship's length, vertical extent from base to uppermost continuous deck. Transverse penetration assumed to penetrate to the ship's centerline or for symmetrical flooding. So the damage assumptions used in damage stability calculations. Damage assumptions are predefined scenarios used to evaluate how a ship would respond to flooding. These assumptions are based on realistic but hypothetical damage caused by events such as collision or groundings. The length of the damage is typically a portion of the ship's overall length depending on the type and size of the vessel. This helps simulate how far the hull might be breached in scenarios accident. The vertical extent of the damage is usually considered from baseline or keel up to the uppermost continuous deck. This ensures the calculations account for worst-case flooding across multiple deck levels. The transverse penetration is assumed to reach the ship's centerline, which means water could enter both port and starboard sides equally. These assumptions create scenarios of symmetric flooding, which is more severe than localized flooding. These standardized damage assumptions allow the naval architects to test a ship's survivability under consistent and challenging conditions. By using these parameters, designers can ensure ships meet required damage stability criteria for safe operation at sea.
Good day, sir. I am Shipman Jacinto from G2C. So I will continue the discussion. We are in number 4. So number 4, survivability criteria after damage. So this section describes the minimum requirements a ship must meet to remain stable and afloat after sustaining damage. So positive residual stability, or GM. So after damage, the ship must still have a positive GM, or metacentric height, meaning it remains upright and returns to an upright position after tilting. Next, angle of heel. When the ship heels or tilts due to damage, the angle must not exceed 15 degrees for passenger ships and 20 degrees for cargo ships. So next, range of positive righting arm, GZ, 20 degrees. So after equilibrium or balance point, the ship must be able to right itself over a range of at least 20 degrees. So next, maximum GZ, 0.1 meters. The righting lever GZ must reach at least 0.1 meters to ensure enough restoring force to bring the ship upright. So next, avoid immersion of unprotected openings. Openings like doors, hatches, and vents should not be submerged as it could lead to flooding. Preserve freeboard and stability margin. So the ship must retain enough freeboard or distance from the waterline to the deck and stability margin to safely operate after damage. So next, number 5, probabilistic damage stability. So this section focuses on evaluating a ship's ability to survive damage using probability. So index A. This is the actual stability rating of the ship based on simulations of various damage scenarios. So index A sub 0, this is the required minimum stability rating depending on ship type and size. So A is greater than to A sub 0. The ship must have a damage stability index A that is equal to a higher than the required index, or A sub 0. So next, probabilistic approach. Rather than assuming specific damage, this method evaluates various scenarios using probabilities, considering how and where the damage occurs and its effect on survivability. So last one, number 6, stability software and damage control plans. This part details tools and documentation used to handle damage scenarios. Stability software. Ships have onboard software to simulate damage conditions and assess the ship's ability to survive. Next, damage control plans and booklets. These documents must be available on the ship and include compartmentation and tank layouts, diagrams of how the ship's divided into sections to flooding, and procedures for damage assessment and counter flooding, instructions on evaluating the damage and balancing the ship to prevent capsizing. So, the summary of our topic. This topic explains how ships are designed to remain stable and safe after damage such as flooding. Ships must follow SOLAS regulations, which require them to withstand certain flooding conditions. They are built with watertight compartments and bulkheads to limit flooding, and openings must be sealed to resist water pressure. Designers use standard damage assumption based on ship size and structure. After damage, ships must meet specific stability criteria such as maintaining upright position or positive GM, limiting heel angle, and ensuring a strong righting ability, or GZ. Opening should stay above water and enough freeboard must remain. Ships are also evaluated using probabilistic methods where their ability to survive different damage scenarios is measured by comparing an attained index, or A, with a required minimum A sub 0. To support this, ships carry stability software and damage control plans to simulate damage, show tanks layout, and guide emergency actions like counter flooding. So that's all for our discussion. Thank you.